rebuilding confidence, and harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zymet.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zymet Show, where being that best you has just gotten easier. My guest today is Diana Sabitino. Did I get that right?
You did.
All right. She's calling in from Southern California. We are so blessed to have you here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Beverly. Good to be here.
Yeah. So, what does Diana do down there in sunny Southern California?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I am a trainer, I'm a consultant, and I'm a mentor. I have my own business called Excel Performance,
Okay.
doing training and sales development, mostly for corporations and small businesses, really helping them up-level their sales. And then I also am the executive managing director for eWomen Network here in Southern California in the Orange County area, where I mentor over 150 entrepreneurs and women
Oh,
business
that's
owners.
exciting.
Yeah. So it's super exciting. I love it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, doing this show, and actually I started the show in 2020, right? I mean, I've done shows before and everything, but January, we were talking about it, and I partnered up with a friend of mine. We started a new business in February in the virtual reality world, which is pretty awesome, and you'll be blown away by that one. And and then it's like, okay, I wanted to do another show. And this time I wanted to make it different. I wanted to have that more professional look. I wanted to have the intros, the outros, because I wanted to set it aside and I wanted to have a major theme.
Right.
And so being that best you that you can be was what I chose. And so we got it up and running, and it was interesting because when I told my partner, I says, I want to start this show, and told him all about it. And he goes, well, when do you want to start it? I said, oh, Wednesday. And this was on Friday.
No rush.
He goes, okay then. We got a lot to do before then. It's like, okay, we can do it. And we did it. And it went off, and so we got everything connected and did it. And we ran a couple practice shows and whatever, and did a few just to make sure that all the little necks and crannies and everything was working, the connections, because technology is technology, right? And then it's like, okay, now I need to go find me some speakers, right?
That's right.
Goodness sakes, I went into a women's group. It was women entrepreneurs helping women entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just put up this little thing that said, my show's up and running, looking for motivational speakers. Wow.
Yeah.
In 2 days, I had 900 hits.
Well, speaking is really the number one way to attract your clients. It's a way to get your message out. It's a great way for people to see you, to create that level of authority where you get to share your views, your ideas. People get to hear from you. They get to hear your core value. They get to hear your heart.
Yeah.
They get to hear who you are. And then based on that, then they can decide if they want to take a step further. So it's a great way to attract your clientele.
Right. And I think 2020 now has even exploded that even more, because it's the way to connect anymore, is through Zooms and shows and podcasting and all of the different elements, right?
Well, yeah. Right now, it's really the only way. You can't, those people that are authors and speakers and motivational gurus that were normally on these big stages across the country. Well, the stages are closed, but
Right.
the people still want to have the ability to connect. They still want to hear that message. They still want to do that. And the speakers still need to support their audience. So how can we do this? And I think one of the silver linings of everything that's happening in our world right now, of course, not to make light of COVID in any way, that there's, tragedies happening with it, but on the other side of the coin, it's also opened up another level of communication, another way to
Yes.
connect. And thank God for the ability that we have right now. I mean, if this happened in 1950, we wouldn't have the availability that we do
No,
today,
we
right?
definitely wouldn't.
Yeah.
We definitely
So,
wouldn't, you know. So the only thing that's gonna kick us in the butt really tough was if all of a sudden we have no internet. You talk about really coming to a halt, right? So,
but much has grown, so much has grown just in the last 6, 7, 8 months
yeah.
of,
The
people are utilizing the technology so much more, and technology, as you well know, is growing and more opportunities are coming to the
Oh
surface.
gosh, it is growing like 1,000 times faster than what it was before. And with virtual reality, I don't know if you're familiar with virtual reality, but you know, working in that element because it brings that connection back and
Yeah,
it brings, you know, it brings back some kind of normalcy. It really immerses people in, and it brings a whole different viewpoint. So we've been doing a lot of demos, you know, on the virtual reality platforms where you don't
mhm,
need to have the special glasses or anything like that.
right.
And it's starting to really take off in every kind of business, right? Because
I love it.
again, number one, it connects you with people, and people miss people. And when you're immersed in the avatar world, and it's not funny gaming characters. I mean, our avatars look like humans, talk like humans, dress like humans, you know, everything. Right? And we can actually make that avatar look just like you,
I love it.
just like you. And you're talking about stages, you know, so we're looking at you know, big names that are starting to come into these virtual reality areas. And I have met some of the most fantastic, beautiful entrepreneurs and interesting people since I started this show. I can't even begin to tell you. This
Right.
just opened up another world for me, and I just so love it. And to be able to help speakers get out there, not only on my show, but
Mhm.
I'm going to start another show. Everything's in place, you know. So now I'm looking for special guests that want to be on the platform, and it's going to be called the Phenomenon.
Oh, very cool.
So there'll be a lot of different ideas, and this show is actually not going to be just a social media show. It's going to go out on syndicated TV, and you know, and be a series,
I
right?
love
And each
it.
series will have its own little theme. So that's going to be fun. So you talk about exposures and being on the platform as a speaker, you are instantly an international speaker when you come on our platform because we are international and we're all about the communication. That's what started our organization, was to be able to connect people like your chambers and BNI groups and your e-women groups and stuff like that, is to bring a community together and do
Mhm.
it globally.
Right. Well, eWomen is global. eWomen is a
Right.
global organization. So we're not just local. So we
I
do
know
have
that, and I think that's
access.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been one of the greatest benefits of
Now
the
with
organization.
e-women, don't you do like events and stuff like that where you have,
Yeah.
you know, people can put their wares on the table, they can interact and show what they have if they have books or products or whatever?
We do. We spotlight a number of our members. When we were live, I shouldn't say live, when we were in person, we
There you
still are
go.
live, right? When we were in person, they would have a physical table and they could bring their items. But
Right.
we're not really about selling during that. It's really about connecting. It's about sharing what it is that you have so that we as an organization know how we can support you. So we
Right.
want to, it's not about just selling to that one person, but yes, people would have the opportunity to bring and show us what they're doing so that we can get a better understanding of them and their business. And then of course, if we have the need for what it is that they have, then of
And
course
then
we need to
the option is there.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
from a
And
customer as
it's
well.
really
Now,
neat to be able to talk to that person, you know, across the table.
right. Well, now in the Zoom environment, we still are doing that by having breakout rooms and by having people be able to share their information in front of the room, providing videos after, things like that. But nothing really replaces that belly to belly, face to face, eye to eye, connection. But I think we are going to have to be as a world where we're going to be looking for alternatives.
Right.
And Zoom is great right now. Video is great, but it is two-dimensional. You are flat.
That is so true. You're flat. Well, and that's why we went into the virtual reality aspect of it, because you're not flat. You're dimensional in there, and so we've set up a lot of platforms this way, so that organizations like yourself and businesses can interact in real time. So as those avatars, because the mind doesn't really distinguish between an avatar on the virtual reality platform as this avatar that we're running around in here on planet Earth. It says, oh, there's a live person sitting next to me, and you begin talking. Everybody's immersed in, you got a background, and I got a background, and everybody else that would be on here would have backgrounds. Well, in virtual reality, everyone is seeing that same immersion. And so when we do events, you have that table with your clickable items. Your avatar is there. That person's walking up to you and say, hi, wow, what you got here? It really brings that connection back on a whole different way. And that's the power of virtual reality. That's one of the powers. But, so what we're doing is we're doing demos with businesses, because, again, we're not able to, and we don't know if we're going to have another lockdown. Now they're saying, well, we're going to be locked down until the end of next year. It's like, wow, something has to give. We need to remove the stressors, right? And virtual reality, actually, if you look at the mental health institutions, have been using that to reduce stress, PTSDs, anxieties. So there's a lot of power in that. And being able to focus on that. So the work that you're doing, Diana, in the coaching and the mentoring, that you're doing, is helping businesses really thrive and survive.
Well, I think that's the key. I don't think so much of myself as a coach as much as a mentor or a consultant, really going in and problem solving and taking a look at where are those gaps. And we have to continue no matter what the method that we use, whether it's virtual reality, whether it's Zoom, how you're connecting with your clients are going to be imperative. How you're connecting with the people that you love, your family.
Exactly.
We're all, it doesn't matter what we sell. It doesn't matter what we do. We're all in the same business. We're all in the people business. We all need to make those connections to thrive, whether it's to thrive in our hearts and who we are as human beings, or whether it's to thrive in our business. It's all the same, right? And I think I love what you're doing. I think that you are a definite example of an entrepreneur, because when you talked earlier about how you just took action, I think most entrepreneurs, there's a saying that says, success leaves clues, like we do necessary things to get to our success. There's certain things that have to happen. And I think too, that it's all about making the decision, then committing to the decision. But a lot of people say they want to do something. They'll start to plan to do something. But the key thing is that action, like saying, Saturday, I want to do this, and what are they doing it, right?
Exactly.
Whatever that is for the people out there in the audience, whether it's virtual reality, whether it's starting your own business, whether it's making that sale, whether it's trying to make a connection, whatever that is for you, you need to make those decisions, but you need to take the action. Massive action needs to happen for things to move forward. And with where we're at right now in our world, I think they're looking at how can I do what I do and still serve my clients and still have my business and still do this, and what things are out there for me to utilize. So I think for the entrepreneurs who are the creative entrepreneurs, the technology geeks, and the people that are coming up with all these amazing processes,
exactly,
it's like a landscape of opportunity. And for those of us that are going to be utilizing these to better serve our clients, there's so much available that we can now learn. So we're having to take on a lot and learn a lot, which has also been extremely fun and exciting. You know, it's kind of I think it's re-energized a lot of entrepreneurs, because now it's a different way of doing something.
You know, it is. You know, you always want something new. What's the next adventure, you know? And that's what I liked about my life on the road, you know, because I started traveling in 97. and that's all I've done. And then all of a sudden 2020 hit, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I've never been in a space this long in a long time. Right?
You got to look at it like I said to my husband the other day. I was like, you know, he goes, "Oh, you love all these changes." And I said, "Yeah, I was the kid that loved the first day of school. Like, I loved going to a new school. I loved starting a new, meeting new people, doing that next thing." So, so I love it. I'm in my element with the changes. I'm okay with that. And even if you're not okay with it, I think we're all in the position that, you know, there's not a lot of choices out there. We have
not
to
anymore.
Either you move forward or you stay stagnant. And you know, staying
change is going to happen with or without you, right?
That's it.
And it's a whole lot more fun when you're with it.
100%. Jump in, take the chance. What the heck, right? What the heck? If it doesn't work, you'll figure it out, right?
You better figure it out, or you're going to get left in the dust. And I'll tell you, that's yeah, eating somebody else's dust isn't so good, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. I love that.
Yeah, so. I'm right there with you with change. You know, I'm a Scorpio, right? If you're into astrology. And Scorpio is all about death and rebirth, which is all about change. Right. So for me, it was always something different. You know, I was always like, where's the next adventure? Oh, jump out of an airplane? Sign me up. Right? Oh, climb off that cliff? Sign me up. Right? It doesn't matter what it is. Right? So I'll try anything once, and if I like it, I'll continue to do it. Right? So, and again,
I think the only thing that holds us back is not doing something. You know, that's the thing that holds us back. That stopping, that pausing, that hesitation is the thing that really eliminates or keeps us back from doing the things that we love.
And then that regret sets in, right?
100%.
Oh, I shoulda, I coulda, I didn't, right?
Yeah.
What's
that saying where they say, you know, you never regret the things that you did do, you regret the things you didn't do, or
exactly.
That's the truth. You know, the things you did, whether they worked out or they didn't, that's not where you focus on. You focus on, gee, I wish I had.
And what's the lesson I learned out of it? It's like, well, you know, it's kind of like Einstein.
Yeah.
He's the one that made the light bulb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what did he do? He, you know, 1,001 before he got it to work. You know, and people ask him, well, why didn't you just give up? What kept you going? He said, well, I just kept finding all the ways of how it didn't work. You know, and if we can really learn from that statement.
Right.
You know, so
what if that, like in that case, if you said, I'm going to only do it 1,000 times, and it was 1,001, that made the difference, right? That one more try, that one more attempt.
It's like the gold digger, right? He's chiseling away, and finally he says, I'm done. And he puts the hammer down. The next person comes along and says, oh, well, I wonder what's going on here. You know, it takes one more swing and boom, hits the mother lode, right? And business is the same way. Yeah. Our personal lives are the same way. Our building within our own selves. Yeah. Don't give up on yourself.
No.
Don't give up on the world.
You know, and it not to say that you keep, you know, beating a dead horse, but you want to make sure that, you know, you're taking all the necessary steps. But if it's truly
a
your
dead
mission,
horse, you know.
your passion, this is
Yeah.
what you want to do, then make it happen,
Right. And I think it's
Sometimes
discovering your asset. Really, and a lot of people discredit themselves. They don't. It's like, well, I don't want to brag about. Well, you know what? If you don't brag about you, nobody else is going to brag about you because they don't know, right? So really internalize and start looking at what is my asset. Just one. What is one great asset about me that I want to share with the world?
Yeah.
And start sharing it.
Yeah. Well, someone out there is waiting for you. They're waiting for your brilliance. They're waiting for your expertise. They're waiting to meet you. They're waiting to learn from you. They're waiting to read that next book.
That's right. That's
whatever
exactly.
Somebody is waiting for you. So, if you have something, you need to get it out there. And there's so many ways, as we were talking about, so many ways now to do that. So,
oh my goodness, with the social medias and
it happened. Don't be afraid. Don't let fear keep you stagnant and keep you held back and not where you want to be.
Right. Because fear is a man-made object, shall we say, right? Because it is an object that gets in the way. You're not born with fear. I mean, come on, look at a child. Look at an infant. When they start crawling, they ain't afraid to crawl off of a table and hit the ground or off the couch or whatever, right? They're just gonna go. Yeah. They're not afraid of anything. They'll go and touch, a hot oven or, it doesn't matter. They have no fear. So fear is taught. And fear is taught by what? Say, no, don't. No, don't. Whoa. Yeah. Let's teach our children something different. It's like, let's take a look at this. This could cause problems, and you slowly bring them into something hot, or you help them fall off of something and say, whoa, there's a depth here. There's a danger here. So take caution. So if we teach caution and not fear,
right?
The world would different.
Too, there's, whether to touch an oven, that's more, to me, that's more of, it's not so much fear. It's really, that's not a good thing to do, right? Right. That's a protective method, saying this will hurt you. Right. We know it's guaranteed it's going to hurt you. To me, the fear is that belief, and that belief, happens because of either your environment, the things that you're being told, things that have happened to you in your past or currently, and then But I always say to people when they say, well, I can't do this, or I don't know if I can, move forward. They're not thinking enough of themselves. I always ask them, who told you that? Like, who was it that told you that? Where are you getting that from? And either it is something that's not real. It's something that they've just, created themselves.
Right.
Or that they've had an experience or someone that has said this because of that. And then you can work through it. So if there's a reason, then you can say, okay, why do I feel the way I do?
Right.
So then I can move forward. And then if you look at it and you go, this has just been manufactured by me, by my own head, right?
Oh my gosh, exactly.
I do this. I have no reason to not do this. Then it also releases you from that and says, you know what? Go for it, right? Yeah. So always I tell everybody, ask yourself, where are you getting that from? Where did you hear that? Where did you hear you can't do that? Where did that come from? Who was saying that? What voice are you hearing? And when you start to break it down, you start to realize that a lot of the fears that we have are the fears that we tell ourselves. It's our own lack of worth, I guess, in ourselves, or thinking like, who am I to do this, or why should or what if it doesn't succeed?
Yeah, but what if it does? When somebody says that to me, it's like, yeah, but what if it doesn't work? I say, really? But what if it does?
What if I do all this work and when it doesn't happen?
How are you gonna know? Like you said earlier, action, right? You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't put it into action, it's not worth a penny.
Yeah. People don't know where to find you. If nobody knows who you are.
Right. Right.
You're never going to be able to get your message out. So, if you have a message, if you have something that's like kind of deep in your belly, that you need to get out,
Yeah.
you need to find a way that's comfortable for you to do that. And maybe not even comfortable. I think getting uncomfortable. Get
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah, seriously, because
Know,
that uncomfortableness also hits the truth,
100%. And
right?
if you're not uncomfortable with what you're doing, if you're not a little scared, if you don't have a little bit of fear, you're probably not thinking big enough, right? You're
Yes.
probably not really thinking big enough. You're just going with the things that you know and you feel all warm and cuddly with, and oh, I know
Right.
I can do this, and you're just kind of going through the motions. There's no challenge there. There's no excitement there. So get uncomfortable, get nervous, feel a little sick in your stomach, like
Right.
when you're getting ready to do something, because then that's saying, you know what, I'm thinking bigger. And,
Exactly.
like,
Exactly.
you look at the people that have had great success in the world. Um, the other thing is none of them did it by themselves. It's all been based on collaboration. There have been other people involved. So to reach out to, connections, and make sure that you're building a community and a network of people that are really lifting you up and that are really taking you to the places you need to go, that are you meeting people that are already doing what you want to do, that you can emulate and learn from and mentor, or they
Right.
can mentor you. And also people that that you can help and that you can contribute to. And through that, through those collaborations, you'll find uh, so much success for yourself, and also the success of helping others.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, because it really is about that connection, that collaboration, and that support. I mean, I can remember when I first hit the road and I was out, in sharing my story and all of that, right? And working with other practitioners and doing stuff. It was like, "Oh, I can't share my people with you because you'll steal them." It's like, "What? Like what? Are you kidding me?" Like what? And that to me didn't compute.
Yeah.
And so the tables have kind of really turned here in the past, probably at least decade, to
Yeah.
where that collaboration, and it really is, like you said, when you look at all these highly successful people and where they've gotten, and where they're going, they got crazy stories just like you. They didn't start with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Exactly.
Everyone has those challenges, and like you said, they reached out, they had help. And it should be one of the most simplest things to do, is to ask for assistance. Ask for a hand up. It's not a handout. Nobody's feeling sorry for you. This is, hey, yeah, darn straight I can help you. What do you need? Let me support you here. And connect that way, because that's working to the ultimate end. And that's where peace and harmony can happen instead of conflict. Because if you're conflicting inside yourself, you're going to conflict on the outside with the people you connect with. So start looking at, if you feel conflict out here, then reverse it and say, what's triggering in here with the conflict that I need to fix here to be able to be a better expression out there and to serve others. Fill your own cup, because your cup's not full. You can't be an expression. You can only give outside of yourself what you've given to yourself. Right?
100%. You can only serve from a full cup, right? Your cup
That's
has to be full
that's
first, and
that's
then
it.
you serve from the overflow. You serve from,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, I know, like our group, with any women network, with our community, that's a really key message for us, because people will come and they'll say, well, how many people, like, we don't do exclusive industries, right?
Right.
They'll say, oh, well, you already have somebody that's a health coach, or you already have some, it's about abundance. It's not about coming from that place of lack, right? You
Right.
have to come from the place of abundance. There's enough out there for everyone. And in fact, most of our members work together. So like there could be 2 or 3 health coaches that are all working together saying, well, what are you doing and how are you doing it? And they're learning from each other and they're up leveling each other because, you know, your people are going to be your people. My people are going to be my people. They're going to be attracted to me and my way of doing things, you know, because you know, that's the key differentiators that are out there. And if you're not wanting to go to a place where there's no competition, you're not really living life because that's not reality. Reality is there's a lot of people out there in the world that do what you do.
Right.
You need to come together. You need to come together and learn from one another and help one another. If you're coming from that place of you're holding everything so close to your chest, you know, like I've had people say to me, well, you know, I don't want to share that because like, that's what I do. That's my thing. It was like, well, if you only have one thing, you probably need, first of all, more. Okay.
Right.
So, to really call it a business. And
yes.
secondly, I believe you give away all your good stuff. You give away all the good stuff because then they go, oh my God, well, she gave that to me for free. What would I get if I actually paid her? Like, what, you know, like give them the good stuff. Give them the good stuff. You know, if you only have one thing, you don't have enough, right? So you need to be coming with like you said, a full cup so that you can then serve from the overflow. You can give them everything that you got. And that's what's going to help you build your businesses, but also help you build others. And I don't think there's anything more rewarding than to see people that you mentored or you trained or that you know in business really be successful and that you become a part of their success as well.
Yeah, that is so true.
For fun. Yeah. It's super great. And that's how we think. That's how we think at eWomen. It's all about community. It's all about collaboration. It's all about helping each other, lifting as you climb, working together. We're very inclusive. And I think it's not just an eWomen message. This is a life message. Right. This is how you should live life. This is how you should build a business. You know, nobody does it by themselves. If you're making decisions on your business in isolation alone, you're probably not making very good decisions and you're probably not seeing your business grow. Right. You know, our founder, Sandra Yancey at eWomen.
She is amazing.
She's amazing.
She is amazing.
She shared on an event that she just did. You know, she did a comparison to Jeff Bezos, right? You look at Jeff Bezos. He didn't start out wanting to build an amazing e-commerce business, right? And a whole shopping opportunity for the world. All he wanted to do was get books to people, right? Out of his garage. So even sometimes what we think about, we can't even imagine how big, we can't even imagine that big dream, right? We have just that next dream that leads us, right? And, you know, you look at someone like that came from one idea, went for it 100%, and through that idea, other things transpired.
Well, and it all came back to collaboration, too. He didn't do it by himself.
No. And one thing led to the other. So it was like, well, I fulfilled that opportunity that made me, now I'm working with these people saying, hey, can you do this for my side of the business? And then next thing you know, you have, you know, a multi-billion-dollar business that wouldn't even have imagined, you know, 15 years ago in your garage.
You know, you said something here, you know, finding a niche, finding a position that you need to fill, right? So he was filling it with books, and then everybody said, oh, hey, can you do this with this? Can you do that with that? So when you look at what you're doing in business, you know, so let's say you're a coach, you're a health coach. And yes, there's hundreds of health coaches, but oh my God, there's millions of different things called health, right? Yes. You know, so which part of it? You cannot fulfill the whole health arena by yourself. It's not going to happen, right? But when you, like you say, you collaborate, you can have knowledge about the different ones, but stay in your lane where your expertise is. 100%. And how can, and so when you can serve your client to the degree of where your path is. And then you have someone, because now they know, like, and trust you, and say, okay, we've gotten you to this point. I am going to put you in the hands of someone that I know, like, and trust, that can really take you now to the level you're asking, because that's not my level of expertise. And I want you to have the greatest experience ever. You know, I'll give you a couple of names and you can see who resonates with you. Is that okay? Because you've got other people that you've connected with, other health, coaches or consultants, mentors, right? That are going to do the same thing for you. So you're not in it alone, because everyone has their special lane, right? So know where your expertise is. Fill your Rolodex so that you can do what? Help your client get to that level they're looking to reach, because it will come back 1,000-fold, because they are going to come back and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you shared so-and-so with me. And now they're going to give you referrals as well. That's 100%. The people business. And I really like what you said. We're all in the same business, the people business.
100%. And that's key in the fact of, too, even as you're networking, it's not about me getting you to buy into what I do. It's about me sharing what I do, so that it's not about you buying my products and services. It's about everybody you know to buy my products and services.
That's right.
So
it's like, yeah.
Expanding that list, but also too for people that, like, one of the things that we do within the organization as well in our community is I have so many of my members that work together where, like you were saying, you have a health coach that maybe they focus on nutrition. Then I have another person that's in the health industry and she's a 10-time world bodybuilder. Then I have another person that does all this fat reduction, and she does these massages and things like that. Then you have another person that, is helping with supplements and things that you need to be putting. So all these people work together because they all have the exact same client, but they all serve that client from a different
in a
view.
Different lane, in a different lane of expertise.
If you have a client and they need that, this is a value add. So it's something you're bringing to your client because they have the relationship with you, because that you know them, you know what they need. Then you can say to them, hey, based on what we're talking about, you should really start to take a look at your nutritional intake. And I have an amazing nutritionist that is part of my group. That's part of, I highly recommend her. She's worked with my clients before, because now you know that person, you know their core values, you know who they are, you know how they work with clients. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm never going to give you a client if I don't feel comfortable with you. If I don't know that you are going to take care of my client in the exact same way that I would, that you're going to take that kind of care, right? And I do that in sales all the time. I teach mostly sales, negotiation skills, presentation skills, but a lot of these people also need a branding, and they need a marketing person, or they need a social media person. So I have my team of people that it's not something I physically do, but I know people that I trust, that I know who they are, and I know that they'll take care of that client in the same way. So I bring them in to that opportunity and make that introduction. And then, of course, there's got to be the synergy, too, as you're bringing people in.
Yeah, and not everybody's going to relate to one person or another. And that's why, if you have, because you're going to know more than one person, but you're building that community of trust. That's the key element here in 100%. The people business, right, is building that community of trust. And, again, that's kind of what this show was all about, was to be able to bring people in, is how do I become that better me?
Yeah.
Right? And so how can I serve you? And so bringing guests on like yourself, Diana, is amazing to be able to say, yes, here's this message. And it all goes back to that community and that trust, saying, yeah, I have someone in my community that I can. So when I talk with someone, you probably find yourself doing the same thing when you're interviewing someone, because when you meet someone, it's an interview, no matter how you look at it, because you're wanting to get down into what makes that person tick. You know, is there a way to build a relationship here? And where does it go? Do they make a fit in my community and I can put them in my Rolodex?
Right.
Right?
100%.
Then if so, boom, you got it. If not, it's in passing. But that person may introduce you to someone, and I've had this happen so many times in my life, where I was friends with someone for a while, you know, and things were going in, you know, and good friends, you see each other all the time and talk and whatever, and they introduce you to, you know, someone else, and then somewhere down the line, it's all of a sudden, it's like they disappeared out of your life. But the person or persons that they've introduced to you 20 and 30 years later are still with you.
Right.
And I find that very intriguing. You know, so sometimes people come into your life for one reason, and that was to connect someone, you know, to you.
Yeah, I don't think there's any accidents.
I don't either. I think, you know, there is no such thing as a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's building that community and that trust, and it's really getting to know that person and to reach out. What makes that person tick? Are you for real? When you know who you are, and that's what I work in, that identity space, helping you become your own self-discovery archaeologist. And it's like, well, how do I find me? Well, the best way to find you is to move all the stuff out of the way that you're not, right? And when we get all this not stuff out, all of a sudden, the real you begins to shine, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like...
For all of us, when we're building, it's all about building really strong relationships.
Exactly.
No matter, you know, I mean, whether you'll find friends, you'll find acquaintances, you'll find business partners, you'll find clients, but everything starts with that relationship. And I truly believe our job is to be other focused. Our job is to ask really good questions. Our job is to be curious and be interested and be authentically interested, you know, in other people, right, and what they're doing. And then based on that, what you find out about them, you can see if there is that connection or that synergy, right, and how can you serve them, and you know, how can you connect them to somebody, even if they're not a connection for you, you know. Even clients that have, you know, that I've talked to, that, you know, tried to sell my program to, or entertain hiring me, and they said, well, you know, not for us. I've always asked them, well, who else? Like, because I've built the relationship to that point where they're like, you know what, Diane, that's not for us, but here's somebody that you should talk to, because now they also know who I am, right? So I think it's really wanting to learn about others. It's not about in the telling that we get successful. It's about in the asking that we get successful.
And so we ask really. A lot of people are afraid to ask, right? And that should be the easiest thing, is the asking.
Well, we became entrepreneurs or business owners because we're excited about what we're doing.
Exactly.
Right? But it's not about us telling everybody what we do. It's about asking other people about them. And then based on what we find out, we can see then if there's a reason for us to share what we do.
Exactly.
For them to okay. Exactly. And we normally do it the other way around. We tell, and instead of ask.
Yeah.
So ask a question.
And that is the best message to end this show on. We've been coming up on the hour here. It's crazy how fast time goes.
I love it.
So we'll have to get you.
It did go really fast.
I know. So we need to get you back on the show again and talk more about this stuff, because it's a message that really needs to be delivered, right? So Diana, if people want to reach out to you, I know they can comment below here and reach you, you know, on the social medias that we're streaming out to. But if they want to reach you in person, how can they reach you?
Well, you can reach me two ways. You can either go to my business email, which is diana@excelperformance.com, or better yet, Diana Sabitino @eWomenNetwork.com. And I would love to chat with you if you have a business that you need to get exposure on and you would like to find out more about the community. love to share that.